Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Federal Minister for Defence Production, Federal and Provincial Ministers, Chief Minister Sindh, the Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff, Services Chiefs, Director General, Defence Export Promotion Organization, Senior Civil and Military Delegates, Chairman and Chief Executive of the National and International Defence Organizations, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. It is my pleasure to speak at the 11th edition of the International Defence Exhibition and Seminar, commonly known as ائیڈیا2022. I am very pleased to see the presence of a large number of guests, including honourable delegates, exhibitors, and trade visitors who travelled from around the world to join us today. I welcome you all to this special edition of Innovation and Excellence. Indeed, your presence here today truly strengthens our resolve to foster and promote strategic relations with our partners and friends while encouraging technological growth and knowledge sharing. Distinguished guests, since our government formed, our unity government formed in April this year, the coalition government has been engaged in efforts to bring the country out of various challenges. The most serious among these crises that has expended most of our time and energy is the stabilization of our economy. We inherited an economic catastrophe where Pakistan was on the precipice of a default, and shukr alhamdulillah, by the grace of God and the efforts of the unity government and the Prime Minister's financial team, Pakistan was saved from the brink of an economic crisis we have yet to witness in our history. The most unfortunate aspect of this economic crisis was, in addition to the economic impacts of the COVID pandemic that affects each and every nation across the world and has caused economic difficulties for citizens everywhere, in addition to the economic impact of the conflict, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the risk of economic default in Pakistan was not only exacerbated by these factors, but a direct result of conscious decision-making. This was effectively a collective shooting oneself in the foot. And it is something that we must all agree should never happen again. In the course of our governments come and go, political parties change, but we should never compromise the fundamentals of our national economic policy. At this time, we've been focused on making service delivery efficient and people-centered, fixing Pakistan's energy woes, rebuilding Pakistan's foreign relations, and giving a sense of stability in our policy, if not political environment. As far as foreign policy is concerned, I'm happy to report, as a result of our teamwork and extensive positive engagement across the board, Pakistan's diplomatic relations, diplomatic ties have gone from strength to strength. Over the past 6 months, we've witnessed a positive trajectory of our diplomatic relations, be it with the East, the Middle East, the West, or the rest of the world, culminating in our exit from the FATF grey list, the Financial Action Task Force, and on our way, hopefully, for the restoration of our GSP Plus status. Just when this looming economic crisis was averted and things started to move in a positive direction, we experienced the worst ever climate catastrophe that Pakistan has ever seen. The monster monsoon on steroids, as Secretary General Antonio Guterres put it, resulted in 1/3 of the landmass of our country being underwater. 1 in 7 people affected, that's 33 million people of Pakistan, 16 million of which are children, 600,000 women waiting to give birth. The impacts of this on the backbone of our economy, the agricultural sector, have been devastating. The total loss and damage is estimated at more than $32 billion, which is 10% of Pakistan's GDP. This climate event will directly correlate with a significant portion of our population being thrust below the poverty line. Given the massive scale of destruction, we have been pushed back for decades, but in every crisis there is an opportunity. And we can convert this crisis into an opportunity if Pakistan commits to not only investing in these less developed areas, in these rural areas that have been devastated by the flooding, but also as we look towards reconstruction and rehabilitation, we hope to do so in a climate resilient manner. We too share the aspiration to not only build back, but build back better. In our interactions with world leaders, including the recently concluded COP27, we have underlined the need for concentrated global action to take climate change as a priority. As the chair of the G77 plus China, we have led the demands of the Global South for climate finance and climate justice to enable developing countries to cope with climate adaptation and mitigation challenges. But in addition to that, we have, alhamdulillah, been successful, and this is a success not only of the developing world that has long held this demand, but of Pakistan and the people of Pakistan, that following the devastation from this climate catastrophe, in our capacity as G77 chair, we have successfully negotiated to add on to the COP27 agenda, in addition to mitigation and adaptation, but the concept of loss and damage. Because it was only after we in Pakistan experienced the devastation of these floods that have resulted in a 10% loss to our GDP, that it became evident to us that there was no international financing mechanism for devastation, for loss and damage of this scale. And it was after our own experience that we joined the many countries that have long been demanding that loss and damage be added to the COP and global agenda. And we hope, if it was too late for the people of Pakistan to benefit from the lack of such an institution, that the next country, the next developing country to be affected, will be able to benefit from an internationally agreed upon mechanism for financing loss and damage. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind about the potential of climate change to reverse all endeavors for sustainable development goals. Climate change is one of the most national security threats that can ignite and deepen conflicts. And as we have witnessed, Pakistan is now ground zero for climate-induced disasters and must prepare for the challenges associated.